Chapter 1. The Birth of Competition. Rituals, Games, and Early Play. Human beings have always been creatures of movement, vitality, and imagination. Long before there were stadiums, medals, or professional athletes, there existed a more primitive but equally powerful impulse to compete, to perform, and to engage in acts of playful challenge. The story of sports begins not in formal fields or well-marked tracks, but in the open spaces of forests, riverbanks, and village clearings in ancient societies where everyday survival was tied closely to physical strength, cooperation, and ritual. In the earliest days of human civilization, play was not merely a form of leisure. It was often linked to the rhythms of life, nature, and the search for meaning in the surrounding world. Early hunters would stage mock chases and competitions, imitating the pursuit of animals with spears and arrows. These practice sessions, while rooted in survival training, also carried the flavor of friendly rivalry. Who could run fastest, strike the farthest, or lift the heaviest object? Over time, these informal displays of ability evolved into rituals that combined physical challenge with symbolic meaning, transforming survival skills into seeds of organized play. The role of rituals in shaping early sport cannot be overstated. Many of the first games were interwoven with spiritual or religious undertones. Communities believed that physical competitions honored nature, appeased spirits, or celebrated seasonal cycles. For instance, among tribal groups, running and wrestling often accompanied harvest festivals, bringing together not just the young men, but entire villages in one collective act of celebration. The competition was not solely about victory. It was about strengthening unity, demonstrating resilience, and reaffirming shared beliefs in gods or unseen forces that governed their world. Anthropologists have often pointed out that games and rituals in ancient societies carried deep symbolic significance. Wrestling, for example, was more than just a test of strength. It symbolized the struggle between order and chaos, or between life and death itself. Ritual races were not merely tests of speed, but reenactments of cosmic journeys, representing cycles of the sun, moon, or stars. Even in small, isolated groups, human beings instinctively tied play and competition to larger philosophical meanings. Thus, early sport was never meaningless pastime. It was a language through which people expressed their place in the cosmos. Among the most striking features of early play was its inclusiveness. Unlike the rigid categories we see in later organized sports, early competitions often allowed participation across varied age groups, genders, and abilities. Children played games of chase and mimicry, while adults engaged in endurance and strength trials. Women, depending on cultural settings, had their own rituals of dance, rhythmic movement, and symbolic games tied to fertility and communal continuity. These acts blurred the lines between recreation, spiritual reverence, and community life in a way that modern sports have largely compartmentalized. When we think of the earliest sports, we also recognize their connection to storytelling. After a competition or ritual concluded, its memory echoed through songs, chants, or oral histories. Ancient storytellers would recount how a swift runner resembled the wind, or how a skillful wrestler embodied the spirit of a wild animal. These tales not only entertained, but also created role models, inspiring future generations to emulate the deeds of their predecessors. In this way, sporting memory became one of the first vehicles for transmitting values across time. Equally important was the communal aspect of early games. Unlike the later spectator-centered events in Roman amphitheaters, early competitions were deeply participatory. Almost everyone had a role to play, whether as a direct competitor, a supporter, or a witness bearing ritual importance. The sense of belonging generated by these performances reinforced trust, cohesion, and loyalty within clans or tribes. Victory mattered, but what mattered even more was the shared experience of togetherness, the feeling that through movement and challenge, the community itself was reaffirmed. Geography played a vital role in shaping what forms these early competitions took. In forested regions, games often emphasized tracking, stealth, and endurance, reflecting hunters' skills. In river-rich civilizations, swimming and boat-like ritual races prevailed. In desert environments, endurance runs or weightlifting contests reflected the physical demands of survival in scarce, harsh conditions. Thus, sport emerged not as one universal practice, but as a mirror of local landscapes and daily life.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?